Thank you, Dolores, and thank you, Secretary McDonald, for joining us here in Reading and for supporting the LCAP program. I'd like to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day to join us here today and for pushing Reading to adapt policies and practices that ensure a vibrant and sustainable city. The Local Climate Action Plan program supports the Commonwealth's Climate Action Plan, and these plans provide the framework and the pathway to viable and sustainable future for Pennsylvania communities. My name is Bethany Ayers-Fisher, and I am the Sustainability Manager for the City of Reading. Reading is a member of the first cohort of the LCAP program in Pennsylvania. Under the leadership of former program manager Heidi Kunk and the current program manager Chris Naff, Reading is among the over 60 counties, cities, boroughs, and townships who have joined the program. The LCAP cohort member communities are all committed to doing what they can, where they are, with what they have, to both combat and adapt to climate change. And this goes for the same for Reading. Reading's Climate, Resiliency, and Sustainability Plan, still in draft, is to do what we can, where we are, with what we have, to reduce and eliminate the input of carbon pollution into our atmosphere, to reduce the risks and disruptions that result from climate catastrophes, and to operate our city using the quadruple bottom line principles of purpose, people, planet, and prosperity. So that way we can all ensure the well-being of all of our neighbors, and so our children and grandchildren will have the opportunities and the resources to do the same. Our plan is based on the long legacy of environmental stewardship of our forest and water resources and our tradition of historical preservation, and will help ensure that this legacy survives for many generations to come. Previous generations have tackled issues around air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, and deforestation in order to provide a better environment for future generations. And guess what? Those future generations are us. And our predecessors would be delighted to know that in Reading, their efforts were successful. They built our water infrastructure, which has made diseases like cholera and dysentery a vague memory. They began to replant and protect our forests. They began to restore and protect our streams. They did some really hard work, and so can we. Reading's participation in the LCAP program did not happen by accident. It came from the desire of our community. Community members encouraged, cajoled, and demanded that Reading address the risks from climate change and create a path to become a more viable and sustainable city. In 2018, community members from many backgrounds and organizations came together to form Reading for 100, a commitment to be fossil fuel free for all sectors by 2050. City Council passed the resolution in June of 2019. Resolutions are great, but without support, resources, and a plan, we weren't going to get there. But at the same time, DEP began the Local Climate Action Plan program to support the Commonwealth's Climate Action Plan, and suddenly we had the support and the resources we needed to begin. Our first stakeholder meeting was scheduled for March 12th of 2020, which had to be rescheduled as we were preparing for COVID. So our first stakeholder meetings were held in June of 2020 via Zoom, which was a challenge, as meeting virtually was new to all of us. 6 categories of action were identified, and beginning steps and goals were also identified. These categories include energy and greenhouse gas emissions, water, waste, mobility, public health and quality of life, community and economic development. Community sharettes, both in-person and virtual, and surveys will pick up again this summer. The LCAP program has increased Reading's capacity by providing resources that we would otherwise not have access to. By joining the LCAP program, we now have membership in ICLEI, which is the International Council for Local Government Initiatives, a group of over 1,700 communities worldwide who are developing, sharing, and promoting best practices to face and adapt to our environmental challenges. With the DEP LCAP program support, ICLEI's technical resources, DEP technical support, we have completed our first round of greenhouse gas inventories, which help us identify and quantify our pollution sources, and therefore provide a benchmark metric to monitor our progress. With DEP technical and financial support, we are performing energy audits for many of our city facilities. City Hall, the main branch of Reading Public Library, our wastewater treatment plant, and our other operational buildings to find ways to reduce our energy use and, more importantly, save money. Speaking of saving money, we are nearing completion of our streetlight replacement project, where we were able to leverage grant money to help us replace our old mercury vapor streetlights with approximately 750 new high-efficiency LED streetlights, which has already reduced our electric bill by $27,000 since implementation in 2020. Although some of our planning activities were paused during COVID, others were able to continue. We have been able to implement our citywide waste initiative, which has ensured that all residents now have the same comprehensive recycling program and trash collection services at a rate that is lower than many of our other municipalities in our area and certainly across the country. There has been a drop in household trash dumping, and we have reduced the trucks on daily routes from 18 to 9, which is reducing air pollution and greenhouse gas pollution. We are also looking at additional services that we can provide to further reduce our landfill trash. We have partnered with the Penn State Sustainability Institute, which matches researchers and students with the municipalities to find answers to our questions, model if our proposed solutions will be effective, and better prepare us for implementation. Because we are part of the LCAP cohort, we are receiving professional leadership training and accreditation through the Pennsylvania Climate Leadership Academy and membership into the Association of Climate Change Professionals, a national cohort of professionals across all sectors who are working on adaptation and mitigation strategies centered on stewardship, justice, and sustainable principles. We are also now part of the Pew 2 and the SWIFT program cohort, led by Heather Crowley, a joint program between the Department of Energy and the DEP Energy Office to find ways to reduce operational costs, reduce emissions, and improve processes at wastewater treatment plants. We have also received training on how to utilize EPA's Energy Star building portfolio tool, which helps us monitor energy and water usage and waste production at facilities. This will also help quantify our savings as we implement changes. This program is free and can be used by businesses and households. Reading is also participating in the EPA's CREATE exercise, which helps us to understand our climate risks to our water infrastructure and what investments will best protect our community. We have received a WalkWorks grant to complete an active transportation plan, which will help us to identify ways that we can make our already walkable city safer and more efficient for all modes of transportation. We are collaborating with our adjoining counties to restore passenger rail service, which will increase our transportation options while reducing pollution. We are also identifying public sites and working with the Reading Parking Authority to install EV charging stations so that all of our residents and visitors can enjoy the benefits of electric vehicles. Back in December, Reading also joined the Delaware River Climate Corps and receiving funding and technical support to start the Reading Climate Corps, an AmeriCorps program focused on job training for young people for careers in environmental stewardship. The Reading Climate Corps is providing the additional hands needed to steward our incredible environmental assets, providing a pipeline of young people to come into public service sector careers with Public Works and other community partners, and is providing a career pathway for our many young people who didn't even know that this was an option. The Climate Corps is modeled on and inspired by the Civilian Conservation Corps of the 1930s, which Reading is still benefiting from today. And I'm thrilled to be working with the Reading Climate Corps, helping them to build their legacy. The ripple effects of Reading's LCAP participation is far-reaching. The Reading Area Community College, Albright College, and Alvernia University, all based here in Reading, are also working on climate and sustainability plans and are implementing projects to help Reading meet our goals. Our business community is also joining in. Large and small, they are all making changes to reduce their environmental impacts. And our faith community is also leading the way. And whether it's by developing a green team, building community gardens, or by hosting neighborhood cleanups, they are all working to steward our community towards a more sustainable future. To our sister communities, this is really hard work. And the biggest and hardest part is taking that first step. Joining the LCAP is a first big step to addressing your community challenges, figuring out what you can do with what you have, where you are, to provide a livable and viable and prosperous future for your community. And you aren't alone. You have friends who will help you and community members to support you. In conclusion, participation in the LCAP program has allowed Reading to recognize its assets, identify our challenges, and find solutions that fits our needs. A plan for a livable, viable, and prosperous future. We are better positioned to advocate for our needs in both Harrisburg and Washington and to leverage the support that is offered to us. We are so grateful for the support from the DEP and the other friends we have met along the way. Climate change is happening now. Energy transition is happening now. And either these changes can happen to us or they can happen by us. And I am both relieved and proud and excited that Reading has decided to lead the change. Secretary McDonald, thank you for taking the time to come to Reading to recognize Reading's efforts and to help us share our story. We are in the beginning of a long race, and it feels really good to know that we are being supported. To our friends who took the time to come out today, thank you. Thank you for your continued advocacy and participation, and for building the coalitions and the organizations to get the work done. We can't and we won't do it alone. After all, we are each other's neighbors. Thank you.